I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have proof of notice of the meeting,
Yes.
and we'll start with my comments. We've been doing some extra work around here. We put some lights up on the corners of the clubhouse. It was a request, especially by the ladies who come and go for their meetings and socials in the evening. And we have a new maintenance man. His name is Jose. He's doing a very good job. I guess that's about all I need for that. The what? Yeah, we're going to make some improvements, put more lighting in the bathroom, make it a little brighter in there. People who need the move
Yeah. Over the toilets and
and the sink. We're going to make it a little brighter in there. We're getting bids on different work around here. We're going to be putting in stainless clips on the roof of the gazebo. The original steel clips have rusted away completely. We need to secure that. And we are getting bids on other work that we are doing. It's difficult. It's hard to find people to do specialty work. You can find a carpenter to do this and that, but some of the specific things we need done, it's hard to find people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
are we also putting lights over building 8 on the walkway?
We're getting a bid on lights between the parking lots where you walk through right at the front of the portico.
Right.
And so we have a bid coming in on that. What else are we doing bids on?
Fish cleaning station.
Right, well, that's down in old business. We'll get into that. I'll go into the treasurer's report. At this point, in our operating account, we have $138,500, which is a pretty hefty sum of money. We have $243,000 in our reserve account. The operating account at $138,000, we have bills coming up in June for insurance, and I believe that the bill due in June is about $40,000. So $22,000 down plus another $19,000 for other policies.
Correct, 18.5 and 22.
Okay, so we have $40,000 in insurance bills that are coming due in June, which is, so we're covered. We're well covered with that. We've got money left over. That's the good news. The bad news is we have to spend $40,000 on insurance.
And then compared to what we expected to be, I think we're on the plus side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're doing well. The accounting is going well. Bookkeeping is doing well. Everybody's saying that we're doing well. And I've been trying to hold back on spending money until this insurance bill gets paid, and then we can look forward and see what we want to do as far as repairs. From our manager?
Did you want to let Joe do his presentation first, or
Well,
do you want to
no,
go
you
through this?
do your report. That'll be the
Okay.
first on new business.
Okay.
Okay.
First item on the manager's report is the Ocean Tower security. We have some very busy holidays coming forward with Memorial Day, July 4th, and I know we have a lot of people infiltrate our property. So from our past experience, we have a lot of people that try to use our facilities, come off the beach during this time. So we've hired security to protect our residents and the property. They will be here over the Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, May 23rd, Sunday, May 24th, and Monday, May 25th, and their hours will be from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. They'll also be on the property every weekend, the entire month of July, from the 12 to 8 p.m., and also Labor Day weekend from 12 to 8. And please do not hesitate to inform security if you see something that is concerning to you. That's what they're here for. So they will be walking around doing our catwalks, doing the pool area, the clubhouse. So if you do see anything or feel uncomfortable, please don't hesitate to approach security. Ed touched a little bit on this, but hiring of a new maintenance person. The board of directors voted to make a change in the maintenance staff at a closed personnel meeting on March 9th, 2015. This meeting took place directly after a regular board meeting where owners expressed concern pertaining to the maintenance during the owner's open session segment of the meeting. Jose Pearson started as a new maintenance person on April 14th, 2015. He's knowledgeable, friendly, and very respectful to owners, and so far he's proven to be a good fit here. Casey Gilson and Stephanie Vera of Ocean Towers office staff. Our administrative assistant, Casey Gilson, passed her LCAM, and the LCAM is the test for her to become her property manager for her own properties. She's being relocated to the main Port St. Lucie office to train and to take on her own properties. We wish her success in her new adventure. Casey will be missed. Our new administrative assistant is Stephanie Vera, which is right there. And you will find Stephanie to be very competent, organized, and friendly. Please feel free to introduce yourself to Stephanie, and I want to personally welcome her. You're welcome. Office and maintenance hours. For the convenience of the residents, vendors, and contractors, we have posted the actual hours for the office and maintenance staff on the front door. The hours are Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. with a half-hour lunch, and that is for the office assistant, which is Stephanie, and Jose comes in a half-hour earlier, which is 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with a half-hour lunch. So we just wanted to let everybody know there's a little bit of difference in their schedule. Jose is here a half-hour early. Stephanie is here at 8:30 a.m. Stephanie till 5, Jose till 4:30. Upcoming and completed projects. The painting of the shuffleboard court on one of our existing tennis courts was approved by the board. We currently have one proposal and are waiting for additional proposals. We also have proposals that will go out to the board for the review for the repairs to the tennis courts, and we are in the process of finding contractors to build the approved fish cleaning station. New floodlights have been installed in the clubhouse corners, which will enhance security, and Ed touched on that as well. Door replacement. Okay. And that is all that I have for the manager's report.
Any questions for the manager? No? All right, Bill, you want to introduce Joe Long?
Yes, one of our biggest, maybe our biggest expenditure is insurance. Okay, particularly expensive because hey, we're right here on the ocean, so it makes it a different ballgame. A number of years ago, Ron Camp, he's not here now, asked me to take over insurance when I joined the board. It was serious because it was right after the hurricanes. At that time, QBE, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but they went out of business.
Yes.
Okay. Was our primary carrier for the hurricane insurance, which is a bulk of your cost. Okay. They were charging us $10,000 a month for out-of-season coverage. You can imagine what it would have been if it hit in season. I smelled something. Went down to the agent, didn't fire him, but just walked away from him. We then hired a company named Scienzo. Scienzo was good. The first year I heard they were excellent. They came out here, held a day of education and so on for people. They did a nice job. Second year, however, our agent started getting a little loosey-goosey. I found out she'd done her policy lapse. That was in April. Okay, well, your tail end. She said, well, go ahead and reinstitute the policy at a cost of about $56,000, of course. We had already paid them. I said, no, you won't. We're outside of the season. Give me $56,000 back. We got it. Okay. We then hired Rick Carroll Company, which again was good. I'm going to get to a point on this. Rick Carroll was great the first year. The second year, they said, hey, you have to reassess your properties, which we did at their recommendation. They then came in over the $10 million per building threshold. That's bad. I'm sure Joe will be mentioning on that. At that point, our rates went from about $40,000 to $110,000. Working through Joe Long, who, by the way, another board member had introduced us to, we got another assessment that came in, $9,500,000, under the threshold. Went to Rick Carroll, says, new appraisal, submit it. They had a hemorrhage. Okay? They had no choice but to submit it. When they did, our premium went from the $110,000 to this $40,000. We got a check for a little over $70,000 back. Okay? If we had remained with the original insurance thing that we had with QBE and not got those 2 rebates and so on, your insurance would have cost you about $750 million more. Okay? A lot of the credit for our insurance being like it is, and we're all with top-notch companies and so on, you know, they're called what? A++,
Yeah.
okay? Is a credit to this guy. His name is Joe Long. Again, he was introduced by Jack Beal, who used to be on the board here. And personally, I got faith in him now. He's got all my insurance, everything, personal stuff. He's done a ton for Ocean Towers. One thing I found out with Scienzo, with Conquest, who was the original one, and with Rick Carroll, be awful careful to watch your agent. Okay? Remember, the agent's commission is based upon how much premium you're paying. That's why Rick Carroll was so unhappy when we got our $70,000 back. That lady lost $78,000 a year. Okay? Joe has been golden for us. He really has been, trusting completely, and he keeps us very much informed of what's going on. With that, I'll turn it over to Joe Long.
Thanks, Bill. I don't know if I can get a better introduction than that. Yes, I was able to take over. I was lucky enough to get the account after helping these guys out for a few years. And, you know, Bill will say I earned it. I did what any normal insurance agent should do, and that's just take care of the people that, you know, that's paying them. So, and that's how it is. So, without further ado, let's move into what we're here for, and that's talk about the insurance premiums, because that's really what it comes down to. All right. The biggest premium that you have is your windstorm premium through Citizens Insurance Company. Citizens is the largest insurance company in the state of Florida. If you go and look at every single one of the ratings, they are the best rated insurance company in the state of Florida. They do get some bad press periodically, but all in all, they're actually a very good company, and their premiums are second to none, as you'll see. We have each building insured for $9,585,200. That's on the 9400 building and the 9490 building. We have the clubhouse insured for $200,000 and $200. These are all based upon appraisals that we had done. So we're not putting our board members at risk by underinsuring the properties. We're doing it at what the replacement cost should be. The deductible is $1,000 per building, per occurrence, if it's a non-hurricane. If it's a hurricane, it's based on 3% of the insured value. So 3% of $9.5 million, you can do the math, it's a pretty extensive deductible. But it's only for a hurricane, and it has to be a named storm. Okay? So the policy is at a replacement cost, which means there's no depreciation for losses, all the way up to $9.585 million. The total premium for the year on this policy is $54,787. That premium is based on the fact that it's under $10 million. If these buildings get over $10 million, that premium is going to at least double or go up maybe even 60 to 65%. So our job here is to hopefully keep these buildings under the $10 million mark, because they rate them completely different over $10 million. We've been able to do it. We've been like this for 3 years, and we've got a long way to go before they keep going up a little bit in what's called an inflation guard, and it's going to take a while before it gets up to $10 million. So I think even when it gets to $10 million, we're still going to be able to get an appraisal. Believe it or not, people think that costs are continuing going up in construction. They're really not. Concrete is probably at its lowest it's been since the big boom hit. So that's the biggest expense in this building is concrete. That's all it is.
That's the question on the deductible.
Yeah.
That 3%, if we had $1 million worth of damage, it would be 3% of 1 million?
3% of the insured value. So we've
Okay,
got,
9 million.
you got a $300,000 deductible
Okay,
per building,
okay,
okay? So, and it only applies to a named storm.
right.
So if it's a tornado and wipes it out, $1,000 deductible, that's it. As long as there's not a hurricane or a named storm attached to it when the damage occurred, okay?
All right, so we have a 300,000 deductible.
Per building. Yep, per building. So that's the citizens, that's the biggest premium that we have, is the citizens premium. The citizens policy covers 7 perils. It covers windstorm, it covers fire, explosion, vehicles, riot, civil commotion, and hail. So anything else that happens to these 2 buildings, citizens is not going to cover. So the biggest claim that we have in every condo is water damage. Pipe breaks, shower pan gives away, and we have water damage everywhere. The citizens policy is not going to pay for any damage for water. We make sure that we have policy enforced to take care of that, and it's called a differences in condition policy. We take the insured value and we bring out another policy that takes it from a basic form policy, 7 perils, to a named exclusion policy, which means they cover everything unless it's specifically excluded in the policy, which would be flood, windstorm, just of what the policy covers over here on the citizens policy. Okay, it's a $5,000 deductible per occurrence. And obviously, it doesn't matter about wind because they don't cover wind. So it's anything that could happen to these buildings. So if we have a water damage loss, it's going to be a $5,000 deductible, and that's the way it is. And that total premium for the year on that is $6,399.90. So we're not talking about a big expense at all for that policy, but I'll tell you, that's the one that gets used the most. Because water damage is Dawn will probably tell you, and Stephanie also, it's the #1 loss we have in condos. So, all right, so that's the differences in condition policy.
So you want to pause, see if you guys got any questions?
Sure. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, that $5,000 deductible is pretty high. What's the cost of lowering that? Because I know we've spent sometimes $2,000 and $3,000 on water damage.
It's the minimum deductible that they'll allow, unfortunately. The premium, they're not looking to have frequency, and that's an issue when you start putting, $1,000, $2,000 claims in on your insurance policy. Insurance companies look at that upon renewal, and when you have frequency, they start to back away, because every time you have one, believe it or not, the big one's coming. That's how they look at it. So we don't want to have a frequency problem, so $5,000 deductible is the minimum. Yes?
Does this building have all its mitigation where it should be, as far as, do we have all our credits
Yes.
to, because, do they not count against us, our in-swinging doors, or nobody, they just overlook that?
Are you talking about like a hurricane shutter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as, because I know you can get, with the wind mitigation report, you can get your premiums, and I don't know if there's other
Yeah.
ways we should be exploring to do that.
You have the absolute best mitigation credits, other than hurricane shutters. You have the best mitigation credits you can get. You have a reinforced concrete roof deck.
Right.
Can't get better than that. And it doesn't matter that you tar it and put gravel back over it. They don't care about that.
No,
What they
right.
care about is the type of roof that it is. It's a reinforced concrete roof. The best you can get. The biggest discount offered.
Right. No, I understand all that, I'm just,
Yeah.
because I'm a contractor, I was just wondering if there was anything out here that we could do that they would be happy with. I'm surprised they let our front doors go.
They don't.
That's what I'm asking you,
They're-
does that
they-
cost us money?
If you're a contractor, you understand mitigation, you understand it.
Well, that's what.
It's nearly impossible to get a hurricane shutter discount on a building, especially of these sizes. Because every single opening has to be covered with a specific hurricane shutter or hurricane coverage, okay? That means the front door, that means any type of window, sliding glass, period. And I know that.
Or an exterior shutter.
or an exterior
Yeah, you don't
shutter.
care about the windows inside.
That has to
The
be
windows should
approved, that has to be approved by,
Well, that's what I'm saying, I assume when they're going in these windows, I'm just wondering, because I assume that these are all up to code when people are putting shutters in here.
Well, we recently shuttered the entire building a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
And that brought our windstorm down.
right.
We got a mitigation on the shutters.
I'm just wondering if, I mean, what I'm asking is, do they count against us the fact that we don't have, because our front doors aren't secure?
Yes.
I mean, did that count against us,
I
or
don't
you're
know.
saying no?
I'm gonna tell you,
Because if it
They-
did, I mean, it may be worth replacing front doors with
They-
the swing.
when we originally did, and here's the good thing about Citizens, when we originally did the mitigation report
Right,
years ago,
right.
the contractor that did the mitigation report gave us Class A shutters.
Okay. Okay,
And they've never asked us for another report,
okay.
and they won't. The only time that
Understood,
they'll,
right.
so
Okay.
I know that it doesn't qualify for it.
But we're not being penalized.
No, you're not being penalized at all. You're actually
Okay.
getting the
Okay, well,
credit.
that's on them.
And you don't
Okay.
qualify for it.
Right, got it.
That's the reality, because the front doors do not qualify for storm
Am I
shutter.
correct now to get the front door credit, the doors would have to swing out?
Well, not only that, you'd have to have them secured much better than they are. You gotta have-
They're actually specific
The
doors.
reality
too.
is,
All right,
that
so
our
it's
building
beyond
is,
the realm of reason.
You're not gonna change 158 doors.
why not?
Because you already have the credit.
No, but what I'm saying is, as far as an owner here, the reality is that's a very, very weak point. All that's holding them in is a deadbolt.
Right.
I mean, that's
As
it.
far as the owners go, that's up to them to do that. The credit,
Well,
as
that's why
far
I'm
as
bringing that
insurance
up
is
now. I didn't
concerned,
know
as far as
we had gotten
insurance,
that correct.
they
Okay.
it's already on there. Class A, with being a contractor, you know,
Right.
that means
Yeah,
fully
that's-
shuttered.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, good question. We have a general liability policy that protects all the common areas, pool. It's a $2 million aggregate, which means that's the maximum they're going to pay in any 1 year for any claim, and it's $1 million per occurrence. So the maximum they'll pay for any one occurrence is $1 million. There's no deductible that applies to it, and this policy also includes liability for unit number 107, which the association owns. So we have liability specifically on this policy for unit 107. And the total premium on that policy is $5,854.04. So again, not a major expense as far as insurance goes and what it actually covers.
We have med payment, correct? It says we have medical payment coverage, $10,000. in
Yeah,
this
that's
policy.
right. Yeah, there's a medical payments coverage, fire legal liability.
You all know what med pay is? Med pay coverage? Basically, if somebody is injured on the property, we will pay up to $10,000 regardless of fault. So if somebody needs to go to the ER coverage. It's a way to buy yourself out of lawsuits by somebody getting PO'd and falls, even though
Yeah,
it's no
it's at
fault.
the discretion of the insurance company to write the check up to 10,000.
Generally, they're pretty good about writing out.
Yeah, well, to eliminate going for $1 million, yeah, definitely.
But that is there, so if we have any injuries on the property, we'll cover it.
We have directors and officers coverage, which protects the directors and any officer for liability if they become negligent in their acts as your representatives. This is the only protection that they actually have. So it's like an errors and omissions, like your doctor has. It's the same thing for your board of directors. It's a $2,500 deductible per occurrence, and the maximum payout is $1 million per claim per year. But I'll get to something else about. There's actually more coverage in that.
What does an identifiable loss mean here? What do they mean by?
To put the company back in position they were before the loss. So you guys have $1 million per occurrence. Maximum they're going to pay is $1 million for any claim. Okay. What I'll get to a little bit later is an umbrella policy, which is over and above your directors and officers coverage. You actually have $16 million of coverage.
But who is indemnifying them?
It's indemnifying you as a board member. But it's not like they're indemnifying you to get money back to you because you haven't had any money out of your pocket.
I know, I'm well aware of what indemnity is, but I want
Yeah.
to know who's indemnified who. Am I obligated as a board?
It's gonna, the only people that could sue you would be a board or a resident. So it'd indemnify them and protect you.
Okay.
All right, so we also have a crime policy, which is a bond that the state of Florida requires. And it's going to protect the residents for any type of theft of funds that the board or property manager might have the opportunity to take. I know you guys have taken things into place where chances of it happening are very slim, but we're required to protect the residents. The total amount of theft coverage is $200,000, and it's not a big premium. It's $922 a year for the coverage, but it is required by law. I did hear you say that you've got quite a bit of money in reserves and you're operating. So you're well within the limit that you're required to have. Okay. But if you wanted to go up, you can see as far as premium goes, it's not expensive at all. If you wanted to do more coverage, it's very, very inexpensive coverage. You got 2 signers on each check?
Yes.
Okay. Does the property manager have the opportunity to write checks? Okay. Okay. All right, so that's good. And then we have boiler machinery coverage. Basically what this is covering your elevators, any type of pumps, any type of boilers if you had them, but I do not believe you have boilers in these units. Boilers are just a massive hot water heater but everyone has their own unit, hot water heaters. I think we had a claim a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
I think we did, yeah.
Ron, you remember? Ron's not here.
Curtis.
We definitely had a claim here. We paid out a couple, I think it was $2,000, and it was for the pumps, the pool pumps that were damaged.
Okay.
And so the total premium on that policy is $1,472. And the last coverage is the umbrella policy. This umbrella policy is an additional liability that's over and above the general liability that we have for $2 million aggregate, which is the most they'll pay in 1 year, $1 million per year. So there's actually, the maximum the insurance liability will cover is $17 million. I know that seems like a lot of money, but the premiums are very, very small. You have $17 million per year, and the maximum they'll pay is $16 million per occurrence, for any one occurrence. This liability is also over and above the directors and officers coverage. So you guys actually have a total of $16 million of liability coverage if you mess up. And the total premium for that policy is $2,494.23. So the total premium for the citizens policy is $54,787, and all other policies combined is $18,539.79.
And what were they last year?
The last year's premium was $57,000 on the citizens, which came down about $3 grand, and I think the Bracefield policy is about $150 more than it was last year.
So we're $2 to $3 grand.
We're $2,000-$3,000 lower than we were last year.
Okay.
Yeah. There's other policies that you have that do not come due in June. There's flood policies on both buildings. Those do not come due until those do not come due until January of next year. So they are all paid up. And we have a workman's compensation. We have a workers' comp policy that's in effect. It's called an if any policy, and
Right.
it protects the association if somebody comes in and does work that is not insured and they don't know about it, and it does happen. People say they're insured and they send you information, but in fact they really aren't.
That's
And it's
very
protecting
cheap.
us. It's $600 a year, $630 a year for that policy. Pretty inexpensive. And then we have insurance for Unit 107 for the interior, for liability, and there's also a flood insurance policy on that for a total of $500 a year to cover that Unit 107. So all in all, Premiums are very stable. They've been very stable. Who knows what's going to happen when the wind blows and the hurricane comes, but right now, we're in pretty good shape. So I'll take any questions. Yes?
You mentioned 107.
Yes.
So are you covering through your agency most of the units on an individual basis? And is
Covering
that-
a lot of them. Not all of them.
So are the premiums pretty much about 500? Or, mine's like 700,
It
that's why I was...
it depends on the amount of coverage you have. Obviously, there's no contents coverage in there for the association, so they're not covering anything but the exterior walls and what you require for floor coverings, wall coverings, ceiling coverings, and then a flood insurance policy, which is $150 a year.
So if I wanted to change, are you able to take on new business?
I
or-
can, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can. I can, absolutely.
But Joe, that could vary depending on the unit, like, do you rent it out or do you not rent it out, things of this.
There's so many different factors. The best thing to do is get quotes and kind of see where you're at.
Right.
We can run an apples to apples comparison and see where you're at.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can do that for you. So, that's it. That's all of the insurance it is. It's pretty simple.
Let me ask, a couple of years ago, Joe and his wife came out and did what was called an insurance day, where they spent several hours here at the table. People come in and ask them anything they want. A lot of people brought in their own policies and asked me, do I have the coverage that I need, if I'm premium reasonable, so on and so forth. Like I say, I get phone calls a lot. People asking me about insurance, and my number one answer is call Joe Long. Ultimately, because I'm not the expert, he is. And Joe, maybe we should consider that again.
I'd be happy to do it. Yeah, we can set it
That
up.
would be of interest to people to have a couple experts come out and spend a few hours.
Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes, no, yes, no, maybe
I
so.
guess the timing of it makes a difference,
Right.
because there's so few here right now.
Yeah, more like January would be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be the best. That's generally when we did it.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right?
some cards, Joe, in case anybody...
You know what? I don't. I didn't bring any cards with me, I'm sorry, my apologies.
Joe's number is on file here. You can see me. I got it also. Okay, anything else? Joe, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Nice job.
Can we go?
Yes.
All right, I'm out of here. So, enjoy your meeting, this is gonna be great. I'll call and somebody later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Good to see you.
All right.
Take it easy. Oh,
Thank
it's
you,
good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Joe, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, everybody. Can I go out that way?
Yes. Steve, are you there?
Are there two agencies?
Okay.
I call, I get
Are you hearing all of this?
Somebody tells
Okay.
us somebody moved here and somebody's there.
I have one agency, my wife has an agency.
So there are two different law
Yes,
agencies.
there are.
It's very
Both of
confusing.
them, like right next to one, my door's here and my wife's door is across the hall.
I
Yeah.
thought there was a difference across town type thing.
Nope, not across town, same building, right across the way. So,
All right.
We're going to back up here a second. We need to approve the previous board meeting minutes. We casually skipped over that. Have you guys had a chance to look at those meeting minutes?
Yes.
We have two sets, March 9th and April 3rd, 2015. So we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, a second.
Oh.
Joe?
No, for the record, I'll be abstaining from March 9th. I wasn't a member of the board, nor did I attend that meeting.
Okay.
But I vote to approve the other set.
I vote to approve.
Okay, so unanimous. Steve?
Steve, did you have a chance to look at the meeting minutes for March 9th?
Yeah, I did look at the minutes, and I approve those minutes.
Okay,
So unanimous.
so it's unanimous. Yeah, they do now.
Hey, in case everybody doesn't know, this is Steve Martin, who's also on the board. We really expected he would come down here for the meeting, but he's in Chicago, so we'll excuse him. But anyway, he is on the box here.
Yeah, good to be there with you guys.
All right, thank you.
It's 90 degrees here.
Not a cloud in the sky.
All right, so we need to approve the Friday, April 3rd meeting minutes.
Motion approved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Steve, you approve those meeting minutes?
Yep.
Okay, so that's unanimous. All right, now we're going to go into the status of the water conversion project. There's a lot of information that we're bringing in and forming. We're forming a committee, water committee, for Ocean Towers to look after our best interest. We have a committee, we have a board for the utility company. Across the street, they have a committee for themselves. We have a committee now for ourselves, looking out for our interest. On that committee, people have volunteered. It's Kurt Wedgie, Mike is on the committee, I'm on the committee, Desiree Edwards is on the committee, and we have someone who has been very beneficial, giving us a lot of information, who is an owner here, and his name is Mike Legala, and he's just a wealth of knowledge and helping out as in an advisory capacity on the committee. And we're just, we're working on it, we're pushing forward with it if we can. We need to get the numbers as to what the actual costs are going to be. We're working on that, and there's a lot of engineering, there's some legal. It's just a very large, complicated project. So that is the status on that. I know we passed out a lot of information at the last meeting on that project, and we passed out information from the committee across the street as to their opinions. And so that's where we're at with the water committee. It's in progress, and we're going to try to push it along as quickly as possible. But again, we have to find out the exact numbers, or as close as we can, to what the numbers are going to be. The actual cost for the water is cheaper than what we have now. So that price would come down. And then it's the security of knowing that Fort Pierce Utilities is distributing the water instead of this plant across the street. And the biggest concern is a catastrophic failure across the street. If that happens, then we're out of business. If we don't have water, we can't live here. Simple as that.
And then I think we're correct that we are now, the 4 units that are involved with the water board across the street, we're now the last on Hutchison Island. Everybody else has converted to, they call it Fort Pierce Water, it's really St. Lucie County. And largely, not just because of the cost, it's going to cost us some money up front, let's be real about it. But the cost per unit is a little bit less, but the security factor is so much better. You cannot afford to lose water. And the pumps over there that we have, are not the pumps, but the wells, are 35 years old. And we can't kid ourselves.
So that's the water. Any questions on water?
Yeah, for those of us not up to speed, because I wasn't here at the last meeting, does Fort Pierce have piping already that we're looking to tie into?
Yes. Fort Pierce ran a pipe, 12-inch pipe on the other side of the street up to Miramar.
Okay.
And Miramar converted over. They had a water plant similar to ours. So they went to city water.
Okay.
Fort Pierce is giving us a price to run from that line to the meter, which is just inside of our property, ours over there. They're going to run 500 feet down to Seawinds and put a meter on their property. That's the extent of what they do. And we have to do the piping on our property.
Mechanicals on our end, right, okay.
And what we need a fire pump over here. Our fire pump's across the street. And we need to separate each of these groups. It's complicated and...
Yeah, I didn't quite know what our whole water deal